The story of Nelson Mandela is one of courage, sacrifice, and the unbreakable power of hope. Born on July 18, 1918, in the small village of Mvezo in South Africa, Mandela grew up in a traditional royal family of the Thembu people. His father was a local chief, and from a young age, Mandela was taught about leadership, justice, and responsibility toward his community. Although his childhood was simple, he received an education that exposed him to the unfair realities of racial discrimination in South Africa. At that time, the country was governed by a brutal system called apartheid, a policy that separated people by race and denied basic rights to the black majority. As Mandela grew older, he became deeply troubled by the injustice around him. Determined to fight for equality, he studied law and moved to Johannesburg, where he witnessed firsthand the harsh treatment of black South Africans. During this time, Mandela joined the African National Congress, commonly known as the ANC. The organization aimed to resist apartheid and demand equal rights for all citizens. Mandela quickly became one of its most passionate leaders. In the 1940s and 1950s, he organized protests, campaigns, and acts of civil disobedience to challenge the government's oppressive policies. However, the South African government responded with increasing violence and repression. Peaceful protests were often met with arrests and brutal force. As the struggle intensified, Mandela and other activists realized that stronger resistance might be necessary. In 1961, Mandela helped form a secret group within the ANC that carried out acts of sabotage against government facilities, hoping to pressure the regime without harming civilians. The government labeled him a dangerous revolutionary, and in 1962, he was arrested. Mandela's trial became one of the most famous political trials in history. During the court proceedings, he delivered a powerful speech in which he declared that he was prepared to die for the ideal of a free and democratic society where all people could live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. In 1964, Mandela and several of his comrades were sentenced to life imprisonment. He was sent to Robben Island, where he would spend the next 27 years of his life. Life in prison was extremely harsh. Mandela and other political prisoners were forced to perform hard labor in a limestone quarry, living in small cells with very limited contact with the outside world. Despite these conditions, Mandela refused to let prison break his spirit. Instead, he used his time to study, reflect, and inspire his fellow prisoners. Over the years, he became a symbol of resistance and hope, not only for South Africans, but for people across the world. International pressure began to grow, with many countries and organizations demanding his release and the end of apartheid. Finally, in 1990, after nearly 3 decades behind bars, Mandela was released from prison. Millions of people around the world watched as he walked free, raising his fist in a gesture of triumph and determination. Rather than seeking revenge against those who had imprisoned him, Mandela chose a path of reconciliation. He believed that South Africa could only move forward if its people learned to forgive and work together. Mandela soon became the central figure in negotiations to dismantle apartheid and build a democratic nation. In 1994, South Africa held its first fully democratic election, where citizens of all races were allowed to vote. Mandela won the election and became the country's first black president. His presidency marked a historic turning point in South Africa's history. As president, Mandela focused on healing the divisions created by decades of racial discrimination. He promoted unity, equality, and social justice, encouraging both black and white citizens to build a new nation together. One of Mandela's most remarkable qualities was his ability to forgive. Despite the suffering he endured, he never allowed hatred to control his actions. Instead, he emphasized understanding and peace. His leadership helped prevent a potential civil war and guided South Africa toward a more hopeful future. Because of his extraordinary commitment to justice and reconciliation, Mandela became one of the most respected leaders in the world. After serving one term as president, Mandela stepped down in 1999, demonstrating his belief in democratic leadership and peaceful transitions of power. Even after leaving office, he continued to work on humanitarian causes, promoting education, health, and human rights. Mandela also played an important role in raising awareness about diseases such as HIV/AIDS, encouraging compassion and support for those affected. Nelson Mandela passed away on December 5, 2013, at the age of 95. His life remains a powerful example of how courage, resilience, and forgiveness can change the course of history. Today, Mandela is remembered not only as a political leader, but also as a global symbol of freedom, equality, and human dignity. His journey from prisoner to president continues to inspire millions of people around the world to stand against injustice and believe in the possibility of a better future.